What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Billy Wayne back again with Legacy United, a Righteous Project Inc. podcast. Here with our new guest, somebody very special to the organization, but I'm going to let her introduce herself. So go right on ahead.
My name is Candice, and I am the VP of Righteous Project. Nobody calls me Candice. Everybody calls me Byrd by my last name. But yeah.
Yep, that's
excited
right.
to be here.
Yep, glad to have you on. I've been waiting quite some time now, but it's only right to have you on the podcast as well. But you guys heard it right. She is the vice president of the Righteous Project Inc., and she's been here since the very beginning as well. And of course, as you guys already know, Legacy United, what we do here, we invite people that are in, if they operate nonprofit organizations, entrepreneurs, people that move up in the corporate world, earn their degrees, all that stuff, to come on the show and share their story about things they've gone through, experiences and stuff they overcame to become the person they are today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass it back to Bird and let her start from the beginning. So go ahead. What do you got?
Well, I am from Denver, Colorado, born and raised. I was actually born to, mom, dad. However, it was my dad that actually did the raising of me. We were all over the place. We didn't get grounded. I should say I didn't get grounded till I was about 7.
Oh, okay.
So that was tough. That was a tough time. Although thinking back on it, it probably was tough, but during the time, my dad never made it seem tough. He worked really hard to make sure he gave me everything that I needed: a roof over my head, clothes on my back. But he did it for a long time by himself, which I am most grateful for. We were blessed to have somebody that was brought into his life, who now I call her mom.
Okay.
And she took over that role, and she has just been amazing.
Nice.
I grew up, or actually I should say, my dad raised me in the north side.
Okay.
And then
north side, all right.
Once we moved to the west side. And you talked about, I heard it on your podcast, across the street from Martinez Park.
Yeah.
I was literally,
yeah.
I was like 5 blocks down off of, down on 8th and Xavier.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yep, that's wild.
Which was pretty wild, finding out that we went to the same elementary school. We probably crossed paths at some point in elementary.
Exactly, which is wild.
Which is definitely wild, but it was a good fun fact when we actually did
It was what was it? So we gave gifts and
turkey dinners.
There you go. Yep.
To the elementary school.
Right.
And it was me, Billy, and Tristina, who's my sister. She's also the treasurer of Righteous Project, and we all went there. So it was a really cool story. Just kind of the closing end of the elementary school, I guess. Right. But I grew up there. Finally, we got the stability that I had never had. So that was my stable place. I was about 10. So.
Oh, okay.
From kindergarten to 5th grade, I was in a different school, so I didn't get to make those type of relationships with people.
Oh, gotcha.
But once I got into middle school and went to Lake Middle School.
Oh, okay.
And excuse me. I met my best friend there. She is still my best friend till this day, and she grew up in the South Side. She was raised in the projects. So I was there all the time.
Oh, okay.
And I would never say that I had a bad upbringing.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't. I was raised with both parents.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me everything that they could, the finances that they had. But I started working when I was 13 years old. I started working at Lake Middle School. And they had an after-school program that they offered jobs to some of the middle school students. So after that, I went to West. Went to West all 4 years. Graduated from West High, Denver West High.
Nice.
What's up, West? Shout out West High. Now I think it's some kind of charter school now.
Probably. They've all turned into charter schools or some type of alternative science something.
Yeah, like a STEM.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if that's what's there, but I do know it's like smaller
Oh,
or
okay.
something. Like one wing is something and one wing is something
Oh,
else.
it could
Something
be
like
because
that.
they've started to integrate elementary, no, not elementary, but middle school and high schools
Yeah.
into these places. Yep.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it does have to do with like the gentrification
Right.
around the area,
Yep.
because they're pushing those type of their low income families out of that area.
Right.
And they're starting to build it up. Have my issues with gentrification, especially
Same.
being, born and raised in Denver and not being able to live in Denver because of,
Yeah.
the cost of living out there is
Exactly.
just
Right.
crazy. So, but yeah, and then during high school, I got major into boxing, and that was like a big piece of being able to stay in shape
Yeah.
and showing your dedication
Right.
and showing really how strong you are to move forward
Oh,
just
yeah.
in life, and it became a very big part of our life and our household.
Oh, okay.
Not with just me, but with my little brother, my dad. He became
Yeah.
our coach.
Nice.
It's actually pretty cool. My dad is actually now training my son.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
there we
yeah,
go.
so it's really cool
There we go.
to see that happening right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
He started about 2 weeks ago and he's loving it. So
Oh, good.
that's pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's
Yeah.
good to hear.
I went to college. I went for the first 2 semesters and found myself partying
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Right.
doing everything that I shouldn't have been doing. I was accepted into a lot of schools. I got accepted into 4.
Oh, nice. That's what's up.
I got accepted into DU, UNC,
Wow.
and and a couple others, but I just wanted to go with my friends.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel
Which,
you.
because a lot of my friends got accepted into UNC as
Oh,
well.
I see. Okay.
Out in
Okay.
Greeley,
Yeah.
and that just became like probably not the best idea for me. I was away from home. I
Yeah.
was living it up, and
Wow. Yeah.
so I ended up dropping out. Came back home. Moved in with my boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, and then after we broke up, I had my son, and we broke up and called it quits. And then I realized, like, what am I doing with
Yeah.
my life?
Yeah.
Like, I have a kid.
Right.
Like, what have I really accomplished? Or is there something he can be proud of me for?
Mm-hmm.
Kids are gonna love you no matter what.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just a matter of how do you want your kid to
Yeah,
see you?
I
And
feel you.
that's what I did. I got back into school.
Right.
I graduated.
That's what's up.
In this
Congratulations.
last December, I graduated.
Yep, cool.
Bachelor's in criminal justice.
Nice.
So it's been a good run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Started the Righteous Project in 2020.
Yep. Sure did.
And what really caught my attention was, this was all when the George Floyd situation happened.
Yep. Sure was.
And it was just, we watched it
Yep.
live.
Right.
And it was just mind blowing. And one thing we talked about when we started this organization, or when you brought it up and we all kind of got together,
Yeah.
was, would we be in these situations if we had that generation wealth?
Right.
Like, would we
Right.
be in these situations? Would people like George Floyd be in that situation? And when I say like George Floyd, I'm saying exactly what I mean is, yes, a black man in
Right,
America.
right.
Would he be in that situation if he had that generation wealth? He got pulled out for a possible fake $20 bill.
Right. Right.
But if he pulled out a wad of money, would that have been questioned?
Right. Yep.
Or if he gave him a credit card, would he ever have
Right.
been questioned? Probably not.
Right.
So,
Yep. Yep.
so being part of this organization has been amazing. Just to think of where we are going with it. Is it a slow start? Absolutely.
Right.
But
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're moving forward. We're not moving back, and
Yep.
we're making adjustments where we need to. So Yeah, it may be slow, but Rome wasn't built overnight.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know what I
That's
mean?
right. It's a grind. It is a grind, and I think, well, you know, a lot of the touch points that you were talking about, you know, when we first started was pretty big because it's a thought process about if we are able to get, you know, the next generation into these different roles, different positions, different, you know, classes and statuses, then we can start looking into more of the change. Just like you graduated and you for criminal justice, which is
Mm-hmm.
what's up. But how many people out there really push their kids to earn a degree in criminal justice?
Right.
You know, and you know, I love sports as well, and I know that a lot of parents push their children into sports too,
Mm.
and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But we also need to see some of those influences into those positions of power. Honestly, you know, at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Yes.
But you're right though, and go back a little bit further. Um, I remember the time that you made the decision to leave DirecTV because we worked there together, and you made that decision, right? And that decision is
Mm-hmm.
not easy because
Mm-mm.
I'm still there, you know, and I'm still, you know, I'm like, man, should I not? That's what I struggle with. But at that time when you made that decision, what was your thought process, and how did you make sure that you were going to accomplish what you needed to when you made that decision?
You know, that was I mean, I was at DirecTV for 13
Hmm.
years. I gave them 13 years of my
Yeah.
life, and I made amazing friendships there.
Right.
But I got comfortable.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And even when I did decide to leave, it was a sit down and talk with my parents like,
Hmm.
what do you think? What do you think I should do? And this is one thing my dad, my dad and mom are always like, you got to worry about insurance.
Yeah. Right.
Have insurance,
Yep.
because if something were to happen, God forbid anything happens, but if something were to happen, like, you'll be covered a little bit.
Right. Right.
So that was a big thing. Luckily my son's dad was, working. He was able to get insurance. I was in school, so I had insurance through my school.
Oh, okay.
So those were kind of factors into actually making the move.
Nice.
I had my 401k that I was able to pull from,
Yep. Okay.
just to get me through the few months that I needed. But really, and I don't know how to say it without sounding like it wasn't a big deal.
Mhm.
Like the shutdown, it took a lot of lives during COVID.
Yeah. Right.
But
I
that
hear what
was
you're
the best thing that can happen for me.
Yeah.
Because I was able to take the time, and I was able to do my son's school with him, and actually I ended up with two of my cousins too, because they are all around the same grade.
Oh, okay.
And my auntie was working,
Yep.
and she still had to go in, and so I was able to take their schooling on. So it was the best thing that happened for me.
Gotcha.
I was able to put in that time, and then during that time I was like, okay, well, and the whole reason I made that leap was to finish and get my paralegal certification.
Right. Right.
Which is what I do now.
Yep.
For my day job.
Yeah.
Is I go ahead and I'm a paralegal at a pretty well known law firm.
Mm-hmm.
But that was hard because I'm not, in my 20s anymore.
Right.
I'm making a huge career change
Right.
that was going to now put me in line with what I really want to do, which, I finished getting my bachelor's. Now I'm ready to start applying for law school.
Nice.
And, my LSAT is coming up. So these are big changes that are happening. And
Yep.
like I said, COVID took family members of mine, and
Yeah.
that's tough. It was a tough time, but
Right.
when it came to my education and my career jump, it was probably the best thing that could happen for me.
I got you. Yeah. And I hear what you're saying as well, because there's really no easy way of saying that, especially when
Yeah.
everybody was locked down and so many lives lost, and just it was a tough time. I remember going to the stores, and the shelves are completely empty, and just
Yeah.
fearing for what are we going to have to do to make sure that our kids keep getting fed. But
Yeah.
what I get out of it from what you're saying is that you were able to find something within that struggle that everybody was going through and use it as a motivator to keep pushing towards your goals.
Yes.
Right? And that's fantastic to hear because not just COVID, but there's a lot of situations that people go through that they're not able to find that type of motivation, because they don't
Yeah.
think it's there. But if they know that there are people out there that are going through the same thing or people out there that are willing to help them, it's just a matter of reaching out,
Yeah.
as well. So, but overall, coming from what you're saying is just really finding what you need to at that, and in the darkest times, just
Yeah.
keep moving forward.
Yeah,
Well.
exactly. And having the support, man,
Yeah.
like not even just my parents, like you, Sabrina,
Yeah.
like I had talked to you all before, I made that move.
Right.
One person that I spoke to, she told me, the scariest move will be your most successful move. And that stuck with me.
Nice.
And because it was a scary move to make, I was afraid, like, what if I fail? What if this happens? What if that happens? Like I said, I've worked since I was 13.
Yeah.
So not working, man.
Yeah, I bet.
After I had my son,
Yeah.
I had my maternity leave. I was going nuts.
Right.
Like I worked up until the day I went into labor.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had, the 12 weeks. I had 6 paid, and then I had to use the other 6 for
Yeah.
PTO.
Yeah. Right.
But I was going crazy with just that. That was just 6 weeks.
Right.
You know what I mean? I
Yep.
was talking about doing months, like to take off of work and
Yep.
really study and really get this paralegal certification going.
Right.
And then the scariest part was having to interview again and having to find a job.
Yep.
I haven't had to do that for 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
So those were definitely just having the support and the, hey, you got this, that really puts good confidence in yourself and gives you a good confidence boost. Like, okay, I'm doing the right thing kind of thing.
Right.
Like
right.
this is going to all work out in the end. And it
Nice.
has played out very well. I love the company that I work for. And, I can only be grateful for them reaching out to me and
Yeah.
asking me to come
Right.
work for that law firm.
Yep. And you would never have known or even got that opportunity unless you took that leap. And that's the biggest thing is making that
Yes.
leap for sure.
And I even tell, I'm like, I don't know how I did my other job for 13 years. I really don't.
Right?
I don't. I'm like,
No.
I would never go back, like, ever. Because I love what I do.
Yeah.
I don't make excuses not to go to work.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I love getting up. I love going in. So it's been really good.
Nice.
I love it. Yeah.
Nice. And that's really good to hear because it's all about the grass greener theory, right?
Yeah.
Is the grass green on the other side? You never know unless you go over there, right? So
That's true. However, I did come across a video and he said, the grass is greener where you water it.
Oh, nice.
So
I like
you
that.
can go over to the other side and it could be dirt.
Oh,
But you
okay.
can also plant your seeds there to make it green.
wow.
So you can go into a bad situation. It's what you make of that situation.
Yeah. Yep.
So I just, that's basically what I get from that is just
Yeah.
like, doesn't matter what your situation is. Are you willing to make the changes that you need to make yourself successful?
Facts.
So.
Facts. Okay.
That's a bar.
That's what's up. It is a bar, right? A couple clips there for me to put on TikTok. So quick, another question for you. So with your accomplishments that you've gone through, congratulations on everything you've done.
Thank you.
Without any barriers, let's just say the barriers are removed, the financial barriers, everything's removed, right? What is your ultimate vision or goal for your path that you're on right now?
So yeah, man, I do want to become a lawyer. But I am and I told you before we even started, the ladies
Yeah.
are not going to like what I have to say about
Oh,
this. But I am an advocate for dads.
Yeah.
I was raised by a single dad who, like I said, he did everything to make sure that I didn't feel that burden.
yeah.
you know, and it was him that had to do the extra shifts or him to find me a babysitter.
Okay.
There were some times I remember going to work with him and hanging out in a storage closet because it was under construction. He did telecom.
Gotcha.
And so these places that he would work weren't even prepared for people to be in there.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And like my sisters and some of my sisters and brothers didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
You know, I have they seen dad. He was, you know, there. Sometimes my dad would have to leave, you know, weeks at a time and come home on the weekend to see me.
Right.
So,
okay.
But now it's like I want to be an advocate for them.
Okay.
Because I don't think that it's fair as a parent myself, you know, that men pay this sometimes astronomical amount of money that they can't even live to their own means.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's fair. So putting some of those laws into place or providing that service to dads who can afford it.
Yeah.
You know, how do you afford an attorney when you can barely afford your child support? Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So being able to be that advocate for them is something that I want to do.
Nice.
I just, like I said, I just feel like as a parent myself, are you really doing your best as a mom when you're not really doing your best?
Right. Yep.
You know, you're living off of somebody else's money. When you can, your hands work, your legs work,
right.
your brain works. Like, come on, like get out there, put in the work. And don't get me wrong, there are females out there that really do need the help. You know what I mean? They don't have a support system like I have.
Yeah.
But there are some out there that just take advantage of the system, and that's just not something that I'm okay with.
Yep, just putting it on a level, more of a level play field. You know?
Exactly.
So,
exactly. He didn't just make the baby. You didn't just make the baby. Like, come on.
Yep. Exactly.
Let's figure this out. And I think, and again, and I take my situation. You know, me and my son's dad are not together. However, we have a great co-parenting situation. Yeah. Is it one that some people like? No, it's not. But it's one that works for us.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to find, is something that works for the both.
Right.
And if they're not willing to talk, if they're not willing to sit down, like, that usually can't happen. But if you have somebody in your corner or somebody who's willing to advocate for you, then it just a better situation.
Makes a lot better. Yep.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And I've gone back and forth, like, I want to provide my services at no cost, but then how will I make money? You know?
Yeah, true. Very true.
But, you know, and I see the Innocence Project. I've come across that. I've looked into that. That is something that I also would like to get into because there are just so many inmates that are really innocent.
Yeah, right.
And it just blows my mind how they have spent so much time and they come out to nothing. Yep. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Just, I guess, the whole, when you talk about criminal justice reform, you know, that's something I'm big advocate for.
Okay.
Because I've witnessed it, I've seen it, I have friends and I have relatives actually that have come out into a system that is just really wanting to put you back in, and it's hard.
Yep.
If you don't have a good support system, if you don't have money, it's hard to come back out.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the inmate themselves. Obviously, they're not going to come out with thousands of dollars. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But if their family don't have the means to help you get back on your feet, then it's just a cycle. You're just stuck in this endless cycle of going back.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like you said, you know, when they get down, it's hard to find a job, hard to find that support. And just real quick, we accept volunteers, ex-cons as well. Just reach out to us, and we're always happy to help, kind of build that resume when you guys get out, too.
Yeah.
So,
community service hours.
Exactly.
We offer.
Right. Yep. We sure
And trust me, we will put you to work. There's so much to do, and there's not very many of us. So.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's what's up. And you know, I usually ask that question to everybody because usually even if the motivation is there, and I forgot where I heard this quote at, is you can be productive and still not get things done.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can work every day. You can work hard. You can, you know, kill it at work or in anything that you do every day. But if you don't have a bigger agenda of what you want to accomplish, then you're not really getting anything done.
Right.
And you said it. You know, you were working for 13 years, and then you felt eventually you had to make that change.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's important, you know, and you just pointed that out. You know, you have a lot of aspirations of what you still want to do, which what you've already accomplished is huge, right?
Yeah.
And that's just from the steps that you're taking towards where you're trying to establish yourself.
Right. And one thing that I have recently learned, you know, last few years is not competing with anybody but me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, if I'm competing with somebody that's here, and then I put myself here, and then I'm like, okay, well, then I'm beating you. You know what I mean?
Right.
However, if I'm here by myself,
yes,
like, I could be here,
that's
and
right.
I could be here, and I could be
That's
here.
right.
I just want to keep growing on myself. So just being able to put yourself in that mindset. And don't get me wrong, our world is a competitive world, but compete with yourself. Make
Right.
sure you're doing the best that you can do.
Exactly.
And make sure, you know, and that's how I am, is it's like, am I doing the absolute best? And I ask myself that all the time. Am I doing the best?
Right.
Am I doing
Right.
the best I
Yep.
could? And sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes I have to look myself in the mirror and say, no, you're not doing your best.
Right.
What are you doing? You know, and it takes a lot of courage to actually tell yourself no.
Yeah.
Because you could be your biggest hype man and be like, heck yeah, you're
Right.
killing it.
Right.
Like, you got this, you know.
Yep.
But it takes a lot to be like, no, you're not doing your best. You know what you could be doing better is
right.
this.
Self-evaluation. Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and taking that in. I do have an amazing boyfriend, and he always keeps me.
Yeah.
He keeps me honest.
That's what's
He
up.
really does.
That's good.
You know, he's always like on me. Are you studying? Are you doing this? You know,
Nice.
you have your stuff coming
Yep.
up, and I appreciate him
Good,
100%
good.
because he does keep me on my toes. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm studying. Or he'll be like, oh, well, we got this, and this, but you got an hour of study to do.
Ah, there you go.
And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I know. I know. I'm gonna get it in.
Nice.
You know, or if I miss a day, he's like, oh, I guess you got to just study 2 hours today because you missed yesterday.
Ooh,
you know what
there
I
you
mean?
go.
He
Yep.
keeps me honest. He keeps me on my
Okay.
toes. So I appreciate him.
Good. That's
Yeah.
what's up. One thing you said that I wanted to highlight real quick is, you know, competing with somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, when you compete with another person, you're limiting your abilities to that person's max. Right,
Exactly.
and then you stop there. You know, you don't break
Yes.
through and you know, go a lot further. So
Yeah.
it is important to self-reflect, get rid of your ego about yourself, because yes, you can still say I'm the ish every day in the
Yeah.
mirror. You know, self-motivation, but you got to get rid, and you got to have that reality that, you know, I'm still, you know, I can still go further. I can still go a
Yeah.
lot further than I am. So, and
Yep.
it's good to have that support system too behind you.
Yeah, heck yeah. And then that's something like that's one thing with my son is just I want him to see, you know, I want him to see what I'm doing. I want him to see how hard it is for me right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that when he does get that age and he's like, man, I don't want to work as hard as my mom did. Like, I could get this done now,
Yep.
kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just don't want him to, you know, think that this was easy, because it definitely wasn't.
Right.
You know, having late nights of studying,
Right.
and I had,
Oh,
you know,
man, yep.
I have pictures of me, you know, and videos
Yeah,
of me
yep.
of like, you know, rocking him to sleep, and, you know, because he hasn't seen me, or,
Right.
you
yeah.
know, he doesn't want to go to sleep without me.
Right.
So I have to, you know, I have to hold him and rock him to
Yep.
sleep while I'm studying,
Oh,
or
yeah.
while I'm finishing up an essay or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I did what I had to do
Yep.
for my son. And you know, now it's like you said, you were talking about like the sports and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was pushing my son to, you know, do football, and
Yeah.
when he was born,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I can't wait. As soon as I found out he was a boy, I was like, I can't wait till football. I
Yeah.
can't wait till this. I can't wait till that.
Yep.
But quickly, after the Damar Hamlin situation happened,
right.
My son said he didn't want to play football.
Wow.
Not that he's seen that happen, but he said he didn't want to play. So, I was like, you know what? You don't have to. Because that was, although a freak accident,
right.
it was still something that could happen.
Right.
So if he's not going to want to play it, if I put him in this situation where he doesn't want to play, I'm only putting him in a situation to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So not pushing him. But I got me a future NASA worker.
There you go. All right.
Or whatever you call them over at NASA. Because, he came to me and he was like, Mom, I want to work at NASA.
Wow.
Obviously, first thing I'm thinking, like, oh, you want to be an astronaut. He's 8. So I'm thinking, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, so you want to be an astronaut? And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Threw me off.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what do you want to do at NASA? And he was like, oh, I want to build things to go in the sky. Okay. Blew my mind. I was like, oh, nice. Okay. I was like, that's amazing. I was like, wow, you got to get good grades. You got to do this. You got to do that, you know. Just start building it in there. And he's been doing good.
Nice.
So
nice. That's
he loves it.
No, that's good.
He loves the science stuff. He loves building things. He's doing like 18 years plus Lego sets.
Wow. Really? That's dope.
It's pretty amazing. He can read those directions. And
nice.
I mean, granted, there's some parts where he needs my brother's help, but and that's him and my brother's thing. And I'm like, well, I don't have the patience for this. I'm like, I don't have the patience for this. And then he's like, Mom, you sit for hours doing puzzles. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yep. That's funny.
That's true.
That's funny.
Like, so he puts me, he's like, you
but
just don't want to do this. I'm like, oh, okay. You're right.
That's cool. And just being that role model still, for him. I feel you. What I remember after I graduated, same thing, I mean, late nights, you got to figure out what the best time to study and get stuff done. And really what made it worth it for me and this is when I got my associates at that time, is, my family came, my wife, my 2 kids at the time, before Marcus was born, and they saw me walk, and get my, degree and everything, but they also seen everybody else, so I was getting my associates, then you had your bachelors and your masters, everybody receiving those. So after the fact, I talked to my son, and he was like, and that's when I said, I'm not getting my bachelor's, I'm not going back to school, but I did. But my son was like, well, Dad, I'm going to get that master's. Okay, that's what's up, and that's what really kind of put it into to a nutshell for me, that's what it's all worth and what it's all about, for them to see you, accomplishing those things. So I feel you.
And that's like I said, that's just something that he'll be able to remember, and my son will be able to remember this too. I mean, like I said, he's 8. Oh man, that kid remembers things forever. But and when I say, it was when I graduated, I graduated on the day he turned 8.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was pretty big, pretty special for him. And I made sure, and even like my mom, she was like, don't make sure you make this about you too. This is a big thing. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, but he's he's gonna have plenty of birthdays.
Yeah, right.
he's gonna have plenty of birthdays, but you get your bachelor's once.
Once, and on his birthday though.
Yeah,
too. That's
so it's pretty cool. I mean, so I kept the attention on him for the longest time, for a long time, and then about a week before I graduated, I started posting stuff or letting people know. Right. Yep. So it was a big deal. Like my closest friends obviously knew what was going on. But yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, even and then I have my nieces and nephews that really look up to what we do and what we're doing. And my nephew, he made a comment, was like, "Oh, I want to do it what my auntie Candice does."
Oh, yeah,
and it might be just the fun things, which is fine.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But you can't do those fun things if you don't have the money to do those
fun
things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You gotta understand how to build those funds.
And it was really the skydiving thing. He was like, "Well, can you take me sky?" I was like, "Well, you have to be 18. I can't just take you skydiving. You're 10."
Right, man. I haven't built myself up to that yet.
It's fun. You gotta do it.
It looks
But
like it.
he so I took him indoor skydiving,
Nice.
and
Nice.
just being able to show him like you could do all these things. But you have to be able to, you have to have the job or the career or build, because and it's something that I told my niece, actually. I was like, school's not for everybody.
Right.
And it's not.
That's true. Very true.
Not
Yep.
everybody has to go to school to
exactly
become an entrepreneur. Not
Yep.
every, you just got to know what you want to
Yep.
do. And to me, I feel like college just in general, like coming out of college, if you don't know what you want to do, don't go to school.
Yes, right.
Don't do
I
it.
agree.
It sometimes is just a waste.
Yep.
You change your mind, you're young.
Right.
And you really don't know what you want to do. When I went to school, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be a lawyer. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm
Yeah.
going to do that. Like, I wanted to be everything.
Right. Right.
I was like, I want to be a mechanic because nobody can fix my freaking car for a good price.
Right.
So I wanted to be everything. But now that I'm older, I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly who I want to help. I know exactly who my audience is going to be.
Right.
So those are the things that when you go into school, you really don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you do. I mean, there's some kids that go and they know exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. But you made the point. School's not for everybody. I mean, you can use school as a springboard to get to where you want to go. Like get as one of those goals you want to accomplish.
Right.
Right. But after it, there's a lot more work. Right. Because after you graduate, just like when I graduate, oh man, I'm gonna have my bachelor's. I'm gonna have all the accolades and everything to get to where I'm gonna get to this level. But you're putting yourself on a position to where you're competing with everybody else that also has those same accolades. So you are definitely moving yourself to another level.
Yeah.
But there's also people that you compete with there as well. So you have to understand exactly what you want to accomplish and keep working towards that after the fact.
And that's that whole competing thing.
Yeah.
Like you can compete with all of those people, but what are you going to do to stand out?
Yep.
What are you going to do to make sure that they look at you and they're like, you know what? That's the guy I want. That's the girl I want.
Yep.
I want her on my side because I already know she
Exactly.
has done what she had to do to stand out, or he has done what he had to do to stand out, and has been the best out of all of them, even though they're competing for the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's that
you're
self-competing
right.
thing.
That's it. You got it. You got it. So I have another question for you. One of the last questions here. So, okay. Would there be anything that you would tell yourself, the younger self, that you may feel would kind of spark a change in how you were when you were younger, or your mindset when you were younger? Doesn't have to be life change or anything, because when we're young, when we're teenagers, kids, at that time there's really not much people can say to you, that can really make you realize, what needs to be done. But is there anything that you think that you can tell your younger self at this time that would make that?
Oh man,
It's a tough question.
it is a tough question. I think something that I would tell my younger self is the parties will always be there.
True.
The people that you hang out with will always be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, if you do it the right way, the parties will be out of the country.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
right.
You'll be able to see the world.
That's right. Yep.
So I think that's something that I would tell my younger self.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm older, and as far as the schooling goes, and even I was actually, I found out that the school that I want to go to, they don't take in like fall semester, summer semester. You have to start spring semester.
Oh, really?
And I missed that time frame for the LSAT, so I have to wait until next year, which puts me a year older.
Yeah.
And actually, it puts me 2 years older from what from what I am now.
Initial, right? Gotcha.
So I was like, I'm about to be that, I'll just say it. I'm about to be 38, and going into law school, like, how's that look? Whatever.
Yeah.
So I actually started to have some doubts, and I was like, nah,
Okay.
I don't want to do this. That just puts me at a different, whole different age group, level, and I just not. And you know, my mom, she was like, you know, don't worry about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, keep doing what you're doing,
Right.
keep
I
with your
agree.
goals. My
Yep.
boyfriend the same
Yep.
way. He was
Yep.
like, oh, okay, so your age is slowing you down now. And I was like, well, no, it's not like I feel that age.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just know when I'm done, you know, I'm about to be in my 40s.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know, I'm starting all over. And he's like, yeah, but at least you're starting. He's like, you don't have to, he's like, you never have to stop.
That's it.
And I was like, yeah, I guess. And
That's
he was
it.
like, you know, and even now that we're older, it's just like, we're able to, we have the means to do other stuff and go
Right.
places and
Yep.
do things. But why not have that career behind you too?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
So.
All facts.
And I think that's what you know, you always want to do things, and there's a saying like always want to, and I was like, hey, you probably don't want to say that anymore. Like, I want to give my kids everything that I didn't have.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And I know you've heard it. I know a lot of people have heard it. But actually, my parents gave me what was within their means.
Yep.
It may not have been extravagant. It may not have. But if I give my son everything that I didn't get, then I'm just creating a spoiled brat.
Yep. Yep.
You know, something that's given to him and he doesn't have to work for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I will give him everything that's within my means.
There you go. Right.
As long as, you know, as long as he's getting the grades, as
Yep.
long as he's doing the right thing.
Right.
Because once they start to slip and
Yep.
once I see, you know, him start to mess up, or
Exactly.
if he ever, obviously,
Yep.
you know, those are things that are, you didn't earn those things.
Yep.
You didn't earn that, you know, you didn't earn that trip.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, you didn't earn that trip to Disney World or whatever.
Yep.
Wherever you want to, wherever we
Well,
want to go.
I might get this quote wrong, but I heard it, and I'm pretty sure other people heard it on social media too. But the quote was like, "Struggle creates strong people. Strong people create easy lives. Easy lives
Yes.
create struggle, and then the pattern continues.
Starts
You
over.
know? Yeah, exactly. But you're right though, is that a lot
It's
of
very
people
true.
want to live what they felt their you know, the abundance or the lack of when they were growing up through their kids.
Yeah.
When all you're doing is creating a easy, unappreciated life, you know, and then that kind of, you know, triggers that mindset, like you were saying as well.
Yeah.
But trying to teach them along the way as well. Like, of course, you know, we're going to go on trips and everything too, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean, if you start slacking, I'm going to definitely let you know that. You know,
Right.
there's stuff comes behind that too. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's a good, that definitely sounds right.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And I obviously I'm not trying to have my son struggle in
Yeah,
life.
right.
You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not, I had a great childhood.
Mhm.
I had a great growing
Yep.
up.
I feel the same
And
way,
my
right.
parents did everything that they
that they
could.
with what they had.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
Right.
when you say, I want to give my kids everything that I didn't have, it's like you were deprived of something.
Mhm.
But really, were you?
Right.
You know, you
Yep.
really weren't deprived. You
Right.
just, you know, because I was not like, I was like, oh, yeah, well, why didn't I go to Disney World when
Yeah,
I was little? You know what I
exactly,
mean?
right.
Like, why am I going to
Yep.
question my parents' finances?
Right.
No, I wasn't paying the bills.
Mhm. Exactly. 'Cause,
I think the first time I told my mom and dad thank you, I was had to go to the dentist and pay for myself.
oh yeah. Right. Oh man.
And mind you, I really appreciated my parents.
Mhm.
I've always appreciated them and what they've done for us. But becoming an adult
Yeah.
and having to pay for my own dentist, my own hospital bills, I was
Right.
like, yo, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I played basketball in high school, and I came down on a girl's elbow.
Oh dang.
And
Okay.
she chipped my tooth out.
Oof.
And so I had to get a new tooth.
Dang.
So knowing what I paid just to get like a
that-
cleaning
right.
and
Yeah.
you know, I was
Yep.
like, wait a minute. What? I was like, I
Exactly.
appreciate it. I came
Exactly.
back. I went back home and I told them, I was like, I can't say thank you
I know
enough.
that's right.
I can't say thank you
Right.
enough because I know you guys were coming out of pocket. You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly. Yeah.
out of pocket that I didn't know because,
Yep.
like I was working and I worked because I wanted things.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I wanted I wanted the cool shoes, and I wanted to be able to go to McDonald's every day after school, and and the answer was not always yes. Sometimes it was yes, sometimes it was no.
Right.
So I wanted to be able to dictate that. Like, well, yes, I am going to go to McDonald's because it's my money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But that also brings us back to, our whole project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, if I would have known when I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
If I would have known how to invest or where the money goes, and that goes hand in hand with like even our parents, they weren't taught that.
Exactly.
So how can they give me that advice? Hey, you should probably put your money in this.
Right.
Now, my dad, he was always like, you need to put, $100 away every check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or back then, I mean, $100. Even now, $100 is not that much, but $20 was a good amount of money.
Yeah, right.
When we were younger, excuse me. But you didn't put $20 away.
Yep.
Save it. Do you think I listen? Heck no.
Right.
However, if I knew how to invest, or if he knew how to invest, and he was like, "Give me $20," and he invested that in something, and it's $20, like. I don't really need it because I'm about to get paid next week too.
Exactly, right.
And it just kept investing and investing.
There you go.
Then, I probably wouldn't have to work right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
That'd be 20 plus years I've been investing in something that's
exactly
$20 a check.
Yep.
So.
And the thing is that a lot of people think that you have to really go in and really study and understand it. It's just the basic information can take you a long way.
Exactly.
Know? You start somewhere, you start small, like you said, the investing piece. You understand how a savings account works or how much you can get back annually from interest and stuff like that. It goes a long way.
Right.
And just small stuff, especially when you're younger. So.
Yeah, my dad, he just started talking a couple years ago. He just started getting into stocks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is not something that he was taught about.
Yeah.
This is something he picked up along the way about doing stocks and doing
Yep.
this, and so he started reading up on it and how to move his money and stuff like that.
Yep.
So these are things that you would think it would be basic knowledge. One thing that we were talking about the other day, I told him, I said, it was, who was it? It's a rapper. He posted on his Twitter. It was like day 550,200 blah blah blah, or 500 million, something like that.
Yeah.
He was like, without trigonometry. And it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you took high school math, obviously you took the trigonometry, you took calculus, you took all that stuff.
Right.
But when will you use it?
Right.
I was telling my dad, obviously basic math, yes.
Right.
You need to know how to add, subtract, multiply, divide.
Right.
Basic math, yes, you need it. I said, but trigonometry, calculus, that should all be electives.
Yeah.
If you know what you're going to do and it's going to include math,
Yep.
then that should be an elective.
I agree.
However, having a finance class,
Yes,
that should be part of your
I agree.
credits.
Yes. 100%.
And I want to say Michigan. I believe Michigan.
Okay.
Just passed just passed a law where they think it's like a half credit.
Oh, that's what's up. I mean,
in order to graduate, you have to finish financial
that's
literacy
a step
class.
in the right direction. Yeah.
And I'm just like, why is this not common?
Should be
sense.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like all this other stuff that they give us. Like, when do we use it?
Right. Exactly.
When do I ever use the periodic table? Never.
Unless I'm trying to make a creative design on a T-shirt, But I still ain't even done that.
Exactly, but like coding and stuff like that, those are things that are real life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They need classes that are real life.
Yep.
All the other stuff, like if I'm gonna be an architect or if I'm gonna be an engineer, then I probably want to know why this right angle is here. You know what I mean? Or I want to know how to measure something.
Yeah.
But like the basics, just in general, just the basics is what we need.
Yeah, I agree.
Just to survive in the world, just in general.
That's right.
So yeah, hopefully, we start to see more states make that a requirement. It'd be nice right now. And even just being a known nonprofit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
No kid wants to do extra work.
Right. Exactly.
Which is, again, why it might be the reason why it's so slow paced and so slow going. Yep. But we're offering it.
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
offering,
right.
And really we speak to the students, the yep. ones that stop by our booths yep. or whatever.
Right.
But really, if this opportunity presents itself, let's just say we didn't have the organization,
mm-hmm.
and this opportunity presented itself to my son.
Yeah.
And it was told to me like, oh, hey, yeah, you should probably really look into that. It would be up to the parents to
yes.
be like, hey,
right.
Let's look into that.
Exactly.
Like,
right.
You should know how to manage your money.
Right.
Especially when you're somebody that's living paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
Why do you want to live that way?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Why do you want your kids to live that way?
Right.
So we need, obviously 100% from both parent
yes.
and student.
Agreed.
When they're in school, they have no choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't have a choice. You don't have a choice to go or not. You
yep.
want that credit? You better go.
You need to do this. Yeah, exactly.
You better go.
Yep. And I think from a parent's point of view, I think ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
Because, when you're like, okay, I'm offering this course, and then you look at the course and it says, oh, learn about checking. Oh, I already know about checking. I got a checking account.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I know how to, save $5 here and there. You're not teaching me anything. But that's not the point. It's
exactly.
the point of getting your child to understand that at a younger age than you were,
Yeah.
So you got to get rid of that ego,
mm-hmm.
get in there, and then you will definitely learn things that you ain't never seen before, and I guarantee it,
Especially just money management.
Yes.
Like I said, anything that you do requires
yep.
money.
Yes.
Yep. And the ride here required money.
Exactly.
You know what I
right.
mean? It's not that, somebody's telling you what to do. It's somebody's
mm-hmm.
offering you more help.
Yes.
To
right.
teach students in a funner, in a fun
yeah.
way,
yep.
With games and
yep.
stuff like that.
Exactly.
But I think, even the students who don't want to go to college and they're designers.
Yeah, right.
You need to know how much you're going to charge.
Exactly.
How much of your time are
yep.
you going to put into this, and
right.
how much, are you going to have employees? How
exactly.
will you pay them? Those are the type of things,
yep.
That you will want to know.
Exactly. How you manage profits, how to keep track of it. It's
exactly
all in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Everything takes money. So money management, financial literacy, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
All should be part of our youth's education.
Yeah.
Right now we offer it, the free resources are
mm-hmm.
out there, but we offer it and we're trying to be just on a bigger platform.
Yep. Exactly.
Obviously.
Right.
But that there's actually places out there that are city funded
mm-hmm.
that people don't know about.
Right. Yeah. A lot.
Which is crazy to me. Like, you are giving you have city funds. Yeah, I've never heard of you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Right.
And I'm not going to try to call nobody out and
mm-hmm.
like name drop or anything, but they're out there.
Right.
Like, Denver has an actual where they provide money.
Yep.
And it's just mind blowing that I like barely hearing about it.
The only reason why we know about it is because we're in this type of field. It's the only reason why. Mm-hmm. Before we started, no clue.
Had no idea.
So that
they've been around for years.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
Is they've been around for years.
Right.
And I'm just like, wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wish I would have known.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yep. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate everything that you shared. And before we close it out, you have any final words or words of wisdom that you wanted to share to the audience?
Oh man, yeah. It doesn't matter where you are now. As long as you want to do better and you're willing to put in the work, you will be better.
Nice. Facts.
Yeah, that's what I got.
No, that's what's up. That's big, huge. And I appreciate that. And so thank you, everybody, for listening to our new episode. We appreciate it. If you like this episode, leave us a comment, like and subscribe. Even email us. Let us know what topics you want to hear on these shows, or just let us know how you like it overall. As always, you can see us on YouTube, on The Righteous Project, and your favorite streaming platform for our podcast as well. All right, so this is Billy Wayne with Legacy United and Candice Byrd, the VP of Righteous Project Inc. And we're signing out for the day. Until we see you guys again, have a good one.
Bye.
All right.